Hi, I'm Susan Goudy, and I'm the author of The Journey from Fear to Love is Shorter Than You Think, and 10 Ways to Eliminate Drama from Your Life, Easy Ways to Be More Productive and Successful in Your Work and in Your Life. I'm also an MSW with a background in counseling, and I'm a practitioner in two different techniques. One is BEST, which is bioenergetic synchronization technique, and the other is Psych-K. BEST works to clear interference from your being that is holding you back from having the life that you really want. And Psych-K works to replace old, unfulfilling beliefs that no longer serve you so that you can have the life that you really want. I've created a conversation with Sue because my goal is to inspire people to find their power, take it back, and create the lives they want and live in love. And I thought by having others come on and have a conversation with me and share their expertise, that it would help to motivate and inspire you even more into taking the action to take your power back so that you can create the life you want and live in love. I'm so excited to start my first episode of A Conversation with Sue. And I'm especially excited because my very first guest is my dear friend, Dr. Bruce Lipton. Bruce is internationally recognized as a leader in bridging science and spirit. He's a stem cell biologist, best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, and recipient of the 2009 Goudy Peace Award. He has been a guest speaker on hundreds of TV and radio shows, as well as keynote presenter for national and international conferences. He's known for his study of epigenetics, which tells us that there's a lot more to us than our genes, thank goodness. So that means that we really do have the power to create the lives we want and to live in love. Hi, Bruce. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so happy that you were able to join me for my first conversation with Sue. You're my first guest, so you're kind of my guinea pig too. So I just really appreciate you being here.
Sue, I am honored to start this wonderful cavalcade of visuals that you're going to make for people, because I know that your work is so important in bringing harmony and health back to our world. And that's why I'm glad to be here to support you in this major effort, especially considering today's world's a little bit crazy. And with the help that you offer, we can bring some harmony back. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we make a nice cooperative effort here, and that's what I'm hoping for in the conversation today. The purpose of the conversation today is specifically, I want to bring universal hope. And I thought you're the best person I could think of to help me do that. So I'm just thrilled that we can have this conversation today. And as I was thinking about doing a conversation with Sue, my thoughts were that I wanted to bring people who could bring knowledge and information that I don't have and share that in a conversation, nice, easy conversation style, and share their expertise. And so I have a background in counseling and energy psychology, as you know, and I'm not a cell biologist and I don't teach immunology. And today I want to talk about the global elephant in the room, COVID-19. And so I wanted you to come on, and I was hoping you would start the conversation with giving us an overview of COVID-19 and whether or not you see an end in sight.
All right. Very interesting topic, since every day that's always the headline somewhere, COVID-19. So maybe it's relevant, and maybe it's time to give some factual information that's been overlooked. And the idea that I'm going to suggest right here is sort of counter to the scary stuff that the media is presenting to you.
Thank you.
Even before we start, let me just say one of the most important facts about the immune system, and that is stress hormones. Their function is to shut down the function of the immune system. There's a reason for it. It's not illogical. The idea is stress hormones are the primal use of them was to run away from the saber-toothed tiger, the fear.
Right.
And when we're in fear, we release stress hormones, which really aligns the body for fight or flight, to get ready to go. And I say, how does it do it so very quickly is stress hormones, when they come in the system, shut down the functions of things in our body that are not necessary to escape a saber-toothed tiger. Okay, so the relevance is very simply this. Where do I want the blood in my body to go when I'm in that stress mode? And the answer is I want it to go to my arms and legs, because blood is energy, carries the energy. And in fight or flight, of course, the main things we're going to use are arms and legs to survive. So the function of the stress hormones are to shut down anything in the body that's using energy not necessary to run away from the tiger. So, and the idea is, well, how much energy should I use to run away from the tiger? I say, all the energy you can gather. And I say, so when there are functions that are using energy that don't need to be on while running from that tiger, stress hormones shut them off.
Right.
So the first thing is this. Remember, the idea is to put the blood with the energy into the arms and legs. And so in the book, it says the blood is preferentially sent to the arms and legs in a state of stress. Well, preferentially also says, then where was the blood before it was going into the arms and legs? And the answer is most of the blood goes into the gut, the viscera. I say, why? These are the organs that take care of the body, maintain it, clean it, repair it, keep it in operating condition, okay? Well, digesting food and filtering and all this kind of stuff is not necessary when you're running away from a saber-toothed tiger. Right. So stress hormones cause the blood vessels in the gut to squeeze shut, to constrict. I say, why is that important? Because then the blood is not going so much into the gut, but now it's going out the rest of the body, into the periphery, arms and legs. As a matter of fact, the moment of fear is often experienced as butterflies in the stomach, where you feel a queasy. Yeah. Okay, what is that? And I say, that's the stress hormones actually feeling the blood vessels shutting off in your gut. You could feel it. It feels kind of queasy. Yeah. So that's number one. So basically, growth and maintenance of the body is shut down to use the energy to run away from the tiger. Number two, the immune system uses a lot of energy. When people are sick, frequently they have not enough energy to get out of bed. That's how much energy. Yeah. I say the immune system is protection from the inside. If I got virus, bacteria, parasites on the inside, the immune system is to protect me from them. So I say, okay, now let's put a theoretical situation here. You have a stomach flu, and the immune system is working on helping that, and you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. And I say, well, where should you put your energy? And the answer is, the heck with the flu. If the tiger catches you, clearly that's not a problem anymore. So most important fact that I'm getting here, Sue, and we'll come back to it, is the immune system is suppressed when stress hormones are put into the system. Right. And that is so that I don't use the energy to fight an internal threat when I need it to first escape the external threat. Okay? Yeah.
Makes sense.
And then I'm going to say there's a third character, and when these all get put together, we'll talk about it. The third character is this. When you're in fight or flight, conscious thinking is not going to help you, because conscious thinking is very slow. I mean, imagine your car is going into a skid. It's going out of control, and you stay in the conscious mind. This is what you would go, oh. And you just sit there and paralyzed going, oh. I say, what happens? The moment the car goes in the skid, the stress hormones are pumped right into the brain. Remember, you put the blood to where you need it. Thinking, you don't need that now. You need reflex behavior, reaction, no thinking, boom, boom, boom. So the blood vessels in the gut, just like in the gut, I was pointing to the gut now, and the blood vessels in the brain both constrict the forebrain with consciousnesses. Okay. Both of them constrict with stress hormones.
Right.
So that the blood in the gut is being pushed to the outside. But when I constrict the blood vessels in my thinking brain, the blood goes to the hindbrain where reaction is going to occur. Okay. So when the car goes out of control, you're not paying attention. All of a sudden, you're turning the wheel, hitting the brakes, doing all things so fast.
Automatic.
That's because subconscious is now running the show. You become less conscious. You become less in control when you are now operating from programs, as you well know. Okay, so now I say, first problem we have with the first problem we have with the flu is fear will inhibit your immune system, shut down your conscious behavior, and shut off maintenance of the body while you're in fear. Now, that sounds like, well, geez, that's a bad problem. Why would nature do that? I go, nature didn't plan on saber-toothed tigers chasing us 24/7, 365,
Yeah.
the world that we live in today.
Right.
When it was designed, all you had to do was run away from that tiger. And once you got away from tiger, everything goes right back to normal growth, health, and happiness.
Yeah.
But we are being stressed every day. So one of the big issues of COVID right now that I really want to bring right up to the front is this. The more fear you're in, the less functioning your immune system and taking care of your body is going on. And this is a consequence of what is mobilizing the energy to run away. And so when you turn on the news and millions of people are going to die, that's fear,
Yeah.
highest level. I mean, we have flu every year. And they go, oh, flu season's coming, get your shots. And most people go, yeah. And they get the flu and it's no big deal. Then this year you turn on TV, get the flu shot or you're going to die.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I just immobilized millions and millions of immune systems by just saying that. Okay, so that's our bigger problem. But now let's go back and say, what about the COVID? Isn't that the bigger problem? I go, let's put it in perspective. COVID is a flu virus that it's relatively a unique version of the flu virus. We have coronaviruses in our system for a million years. It's always been there. But when a new version of it comes up, the immune system doesn't have a memory. And immune systems have memory. So for example, if you had chickenpox or measles when you were a kid, your immune system has a memory to fight those infections. I don't care how old you are because memory is there. But if something new shows up, you don't really have a memory of it, okay? So guess what? How do you create a memory? First, you have to have experience of it. You can't have a memory and never have had the virus. You have to have the virus, then you make a memory, okay? So A, who are the susceptible people to this virus? I say, almost everybody. Why? It hasn't been in the human population before, so there's not a lot of people with a previous exposure that will, eliminate that virus, okay? But there are also a lot of cross-reactivities that coronaviruses share some characteristics, whether it's the COVID one or previous ones or some. So there is some immunity in some people, like a cross-reaction from an earlier version of the virus.
That makes sense.
We haven't had the virus in the population, so everybody's susceptible. B, some people, lots of people, have enough of a cross memory from a previous version to neutralize the deadly effects that people are told about, okay? So I say, okay, mortality rate, biggest fear, started off with the first number saying millions of people are going to die, millions. Well, that all of a sudden says, Jesus, I could be in millions, okay? And I go, where did they come up with that death rate that is so high?
Right.
And the answer is, how do you determine death rate? You take the number of people that died and you divide it by the number of people that have been recognized to have the disease. Okay? Let me give you a simple understanding. Let's say 5 people died and 10 people had the disease. So you take 10 and you put it into 5 and you find out 50% of the population that has that's going to die if you use that number.
Right.
Okay? Every time I put a bigger number underneath, the percent of death gets smaller and smaller. So when this initially was reported, who had the disease? Well, who died? Well, these people had apparently this flu and they died from the flu, which it is.
Right.
And I say, and how many people are reported to have that flu? A small number of people, those that felt sick enough to go to the doctor or go to the hospital. That's the only way they got reported. So I said, what if people got the flu, but never went to the doctor or the hospital? They just managed it like a flu. I said, well, they didn't get reported. I say, why is that relevant? Because when they started to take the number reported and divide it into the number of dead, that percent is high.
Right.
And that's where millions of people are going to die.
Yeah.
Then they started to do the testing. And they found over 90% of the people tested for the virus had the virus, but never went to a doctor, never went to a hospital, never got reported. But they have the virus. So I say, oh, wait, now add those people you didn't report as having had the flu. Now the number is really big. And this number stayed the same, but this one got bigger. And I say, why is it relevant? Because now when you look at mortality, it's higher than a regular flu, but not profoundly higher at all. A regular flu is, maybe 0.1 to 0.2%, and this one has anywhere from 0.6 to 0.6%. I say, well, yeah, it's a little more virulent. Is it deadly? For those that die, yeah, it's a serious problem.
Right.
But for the
just like the regular flu is.
Yeah.
So
It's like a regular flu with a little more virulence.
Right.
Okay, and now comes, okay, but there's still a lot of people dying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's another problem here. Hospitals and the health system of the United States said to doctors, if a person has been known to be infected with the virus, no matter what they have, cancer, heart disease, whatever it is,
right.
If they had the virus when they died, then blame it on the virus.
Yeah.
So guess what? Now that the virus is here, cancer deaths have just plummeted. Heart disease just plummeted. People are not dying from that. Now they're dying what? From COVID. Because the law said, not only if you test it and you know they have the virus, here's the other part of the law. If you think they had the virus, put down COVID as leading cause of death.
Yes.
And I say, so there was some statistic recently said out of 155,000 or 53,000 people that died, when they went back and pulled out the cancer people, pulled out the heart attack people, the car accident people, when they pulled them out, it was only about 9,000 people that died with so-called COVID. Right. 140,000 of them. There were other things that compromised them. So they didn't die from COVID. And I say, well, and not only did the health department say, put COVID on there if you think they had COVID, let me add you another little factor people are not talking about. The government pays the hospital for every COVID patient. I think it's about approximately $10,000. And hospitals are businesses.
Yep.
And if every patient that comes in gets COVID, that's every $10,000, $10,000, $10,000, $10,000. Mm-hmm. And if they put them on a ventilator, they get $30,000. I say, if you're running a business, you damn well sure that everybody came in there, got COVID. Why? Mm-hmm. It paid for the whole thing. Yep. Okay. So there was an incentive there to mislead. Okay. Now, are people dying? I'm not going to take away the sorrow and all that from people are dying. People are dying. Right. And I say, then how come so many people more are dying in the US? Mm-hmm. And the answer is this. If the immune system is compromised and you've never experienced this thing, the immune system's job is to learn and react and create a lot of energy and effort to learn about the new virus. But if the immune system is already compromised, then it doesn't have the full activity available anymore because it's doing other things. Right. So here's a fact. And now when you put the numbers in, it's very important to understand. In the US, 60% of the population has at least one chronic disease that is using the immune system. Okay. Mm-hmm. But now let me give you this other number because this is the one. 40% of Americans have two or more chronic conditions simultaneously. Wow. These people are already in jeopardy. They got two things that are chronically using the immune system. Now the virus comes in. It's like, well, the immune system is not fully capable of handling the response. It's compromised. We've been weakened. We're weakened by the diet that we eat. We're weakened by the programs that we receive. All kinds of weakening. Mm-hmm. Look, they always used to say wolves are evil because they would kill something. I say wolves took out the weakest ones of whatever if they were chasing caribou. Right. They didn't kill any caribou. They identified the weakest caribou and took them out. Okay? I say, why is that important? Because they were culling the herd of the weak elements that left behind the strong elements. Yeah. That's biology. It's always been that way. Right. Yeah. Now I look at human population as a herd and I say, man, the coronavirus is the wolf. Yeah. It's coming in, and guess what? If you're already super compromised, you're in trouble because your immune system is not ready to fully make a launch or response against this. So the numbers in the U.S. are high. Why? Because the population in the U.S. is so compromised by the stresses of living in the American dream, which is really the American nightmare.
Right, exactly.
No. Now, and think about when the economic crisis hit, hey, it was bad enough that on the TV, you're going to be a victim, you're going to die, be afraid, be afraid.
Right.
That was bad enough. Now add to this, I'm sorry, your job is closed. We're not doing that job anymore. We don't need you in the restaurant. We don't need you in the store. We're not dealing with people. We shut down. I go, how many people live week by week?
Right.
I got my paycheck. It covers this week.
Right.
If I miss a paycheck, I'm in a lot of trouble because I was living depending on that paycheck.
Yep.
And so many Americans are at that level of week to week. Then I say, what is the consequence of a stress when you don't have any money and you're living week to week?
Yep.
The answer is, oh my God, that's one of the highest stresses of all things. No more survival. I can't survive. I don't have the resources. You want to talk about stress? Threatened survival. That's it. How many people are going to die? Millions. Stress. How many people have no money to pay for next week's food? Stress. And then you look at it and go, my God, a lot of people are dying here.
Yeah.
And they're dying. Yeah.
And behind it is the fear, the stress, the fear that's created the stress, because initially, I mean, we were being bombarded with all this information telling us you can't be 6 feet from your neighbor anymore. And so you look at a city like Chicago or New York, and I'm from Chicago, and I think, well, they can't do anything. Their entire lives shut down because you can't go anywhere without being closer than 6 feet to people to get to and from work. So like you said, then everything shuts down. And that's
this is the belief system that we bought into because somebody said so.
Right.
And exactly. I go, and what did we do that, let's talk about why the surge is on. It's coming back. I say, it never left.
Yeah.
You took the susceptible people and say, okay, stay off the street, stay in your house.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I say, did the virus disappear while they were in the house? No.
Right.
Did they get any immune, response? No, they didn't even contact it. Right. Now you put fresh meat on the table and it's like, boom. Of course they're going to be infected. What the hell did you think was going to happen? That they would somehow be immune because they were isolated?
Yeah. No. Now you put them back out in the population so that they're going to be exposed.
And this time, considering the first time, how long have they been locked up, fed stress, and how many of them have no income during that? You thought it was worse, the first time. It's like, no, worse the second time. Why? There's a hell of a lot more stress in the second group than there was in the first group that had no knowledge of this, okay?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I say, now you look at the numbers, it's like, oh my God, this thing's getting out of hand. I go, it's getting out of hand. It was misunderstood that, yes, those that are, look, every year people die from the flu. Who are the people that die from the flu? Annually, every year, the large majority, people in nursing homes. Why? They were already on the last of their life support going in the first place. They're the ones that are most threatened of all of the people. And that is why when they started reporting the deaths, they were almost all nursing home deaths. Okay? They were the most susceptible of all people.
Yeah.
And so the idea is this. I should now put them a face mask on because that person is susceptible. I go, well, if you want to do that, that's very nice. They have to wear a safe mask. It's not a choice for them. If you're susceptible, then your whole point is I must take care of myself, isolate myself, keep away from all these people, wear the face mask.
Right.
Hey, I got a good operating system. I even had the damn thing, I'm sure, in December before it was even announced, okay? Right. And I went through that, a week of that. And it was like, yeah, it was a flu and it was a pain and I lost my energy and I was weak and everything. Yeah. But at the end of the week, my immune system kicked in and everything, I was good again.
Yeah, I've heard that from other people too. Like my son-in-law, I'm sure he had it. And he was back to work in a week.
Yeah.
So, and some people have gotten much worse than that. And it's not that we're saying that isn't true, but yeah, put it into perspective, just like you are.
Well, that's it. Mathematically, the numbers were wrong. Stress-wise, it completely misunderstood that just even announcing this on TV and keeping it on your front page every day, emphasizing the death. I go, I'm not saying dead people die. That people die of the flu every year.
Exactly.
Actually, the same cohort of people.
Right.
And then you're being fed this data that shuts off your immune system. And then you have no income.
Right.
And I say, you want to talk about stress? And then here's another stress that you just brought up, and I need to emphasize it. Very interesting. There was a book a long time ago that was a really good read. It was called The Lives of a Cell. It was a bunch of essays from a doctor, a research scientist, okay? Lewis Thomas. He was a cancer research scientist. And he wrote a whole bunch of essays. They're really fun essays, okay? But the most important aspect of the essay was this, that it's inconceivable that any organism live alone, that all organisms live in community.
Right.
That when you break up community, you're isolating people and preventing them from experiencing the necessity of a harmony of a community versus I'm alone in the world by myself out here.
Yeah.
And this is very critical. And the idea that we isolate people, you break up community, you've done two important damages. One, community is profound. It's so profound.
Right.
Nature will demonstrate. Here's an example. When two horses have a baby colt, if they raise it like a kid, right? And if the colt starts to misbehave, the parents will nip at it. Like, don't do that, nip at it, don't do that. If the colt doesn't respond, the parents do the absolute most important thing. They exclude the colt from the community. Push it out. You're not part of us. That instantly changes the action of that colt.
Snaps them
because
right into
it's
shape.
so important to be in that community that there's no greater lesson that animal can learn is I have to stay in community.
Right.
When I'm outside, I'm under threat.
Similar to when you put a child in timeout, right? They don't want to be separated from you. They want to be with you. So they usually get in line and to follow the rules.
Well, that was the idea. You can't be with us. You're not following the rule.
Right.
So this is a very important issue. So I say, well, number one, isolating people by thinking that is going to stop this thing, that was a big mistake. Okay. That the mortality of this thing is really understood. Right. If you're compromised, then damn well you take care of it. That's your responsibility.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not my responsibility, it's your responsibility. You're compromised, isolate yourself, wear a mask, do every damn thing. So I say, okay, that's important for us to understand. Okay, so there's another problem. I'll also give you, from Bruce Lipton's evolutionary perspective, the biggest problem. People only have power when they are in community. If people are not in community, they wield no power over their life or their existence. It's only when people group together in a community that they wield power. If I can make the entire world break the community, I have broken the entire power structure of humans on this planet because they're no longer participating as a community anymore. And that's when the whole thing fell apart. And that the fact that this was the essential essence of introducing a global world government where one voice said, put your mask on. And everybody around the world put the mask on. Right. All of a sudden you start to see, well, and then tell them, keep away from each other. No community. It's like, disconnect, things go over, game's over. You have lost the control. You have no idea what the hell was going on when you've been hiding in your house. Right. And this becomes important. So, in an evolutionary perspective, that's de-evolution. Exactly. Because evolution is community.
Well, and from my perspective, that's so unhealthy and wrong for individuals to be separated like that. We need each other. That's how we grow and we expand and we do wonderful things in the world. And what I've seen is people being isolated. That's why they're now depressed and they're angry and they're just pissed off because they've lost that community. And that's the fear, the whole fear thing, because everything on the end of fear is hatred and anger and despair and hopelessness.
Separation.
Yes.
Separation
from love, because love's on the other end of the spectrum. Yeah. So everybody's been pushed way over to the side of fear. And then no wonder so many people are getting sick, whether they have COVID or not, they're getting
That's
sick.
The game.
Yes.
I can create any disease with consciousness.
Right.
Let's give people the positive side, because that's so new agey. Okay, let me give the positive side.
Yeah.
What is the placebo effect? I take this pill because the doctor said this is the magic new pill that's going to cure me. I
Right.
take the pill, I get well,
Hmm.
but find out the pill was a sugar pill.
Right.
I say, then what healed me? And the answer was not the pill,
Exactly.
your belief in the pill, a
Yeah.
positive thought. Oh, finally, the one that I've been waiting for. This is it. I'm going to get well. I see myself getting well.
Yes.
And you get well. Positive thinking,
Right.
placebo effect. From 1/3 minimum to up at least 2/3 of all medical interventions are cured by placebo effect, not by the therapy.
Yes.
Okay? Now I say, so why is that relevant? Oh yeah, but that positive thinking healed me. And then I go, what about negative thinking? Oh, we never talk about that. I
Yeah.
go, negative thinking is equally powerful in shaping your life as positive thinking, but in the opposite direction.
Exactly.
Negative thinking can cause any disease and can cause death. The fear can cause death.
Yeah.
And I say, oh, so positive thinking, that's placebo.
Hmm.
Negative thinking is called nocebo.
Okay.
Has anybody been out there telling you if you think a negative thought, you just compromised your life? No. What are they giving you? Negative thoughts,
Right.
negative thoughts. And I go, every time that happens, there's a compromise and a compromise of your health. And you can be scared to death and you can create cancer anytime
Right.
because cancer isn't caused by a gene. Cancer is caused by living out of harmony.
Exactly. I agree with that.
And the negative, yeah, this is so important.
Yeah.
And that 90% of doctor visits in this country, US,
Mhm.
90% of doctor visits are for stress-related ailments.
Yeah.
And how much is genetics contributing to illness on this planet? You ready? Less than 1%
Yeah.
of disease is connected to genes.
Hmm.
Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
Consciousness, which controls genes, epigenetics.
Yep. Your beliefs, like the biology of beliefs says, it's your beliefs
Hey,
that create. Yeah, you know that book, The Biology of
that's a
Beliefs.
good one.
Yeah. In fact, I have to show you something really quick because I can't believe I found this, but I have an original copy.
Oh my God, that was
Yep.
ancient art.
Yep.
Ancient.
Yeah, I'm going
It's
to keep
almost
it.
like cave painting.
It might be worth something someday. But
I don't even have one of those.
Well,
I
if you
that,
want,
like,
if
oh
you
yeah, I
want it,
remember that.
if you want it, we can negotiate later. But yeah, so I mean, of course, that's how you and I met. And I heard you speak about that. And then I was also already working on trying to help empower people to move out of fear and move to love and live more in
Yes.
a space of love than living in fear. So the biology of belief really meant so much to me because I understood. I got it. I totally got that. It starts with our beliefs. And then the beliefs create your thoughts create your feelings, and then that's where you end up in fear or whatever it is, and then that's how you end up sick. Unless you go the other way and you allow your feelings, your beliefs to create your positive thoughts. So for me, for example, my mom just celebrated her 90th birthday yesterday. So epigenetics, the environment that you grew up in until you're about 7. I know your book. So until you're about 7, and what you learn in that environment, that's what's downloaded, and that's what you learn, and that's what you believe. I was so blessed with a mom who said to me continually my entire life, no matter what's going on in the world, there's always more good than bad. Enjoy your life, be happy. And she just told us yesterday, do all the good things. Now, she has no idea that COVID is happening. She has no idea what's going on in the world. She is healthy and well right now because she doesn't have a clue about that. But those beliefs were what I was given as a child. So I was lucky. Those were some good beliefs. There were some negative things. And you and I know how you can change those. We can talk about that.
But the beautiful part was you got off the ground with very good beliefs.
Right.
Okay, some negative. It's always a mixture. Okay.
Right.
But there's a difference when the average person, not you, average person, when you calculate good or negative beliefs, that the negative ones outnumber the positive ones.
Right.
And as a result, they can't get out of their own way of
Yeah, exactly.
engaging in these negative beliefs.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. So that's why I wanted to talk to you about this, because the biology belief fits in with everything that I believe and feel. And of course, you are a person that when COVID-19 hit, you were the first person I turned to for some reassurance, for some information that made sense, for real information instead of listening, because I'm human. So when COVID-19 hit, I went into some fear also, just like everybody else for a minute. And then I thought, you know what? I know what I believe, and I know that I'm safe and I'm well, and everything's always working out for me. So I actually wrote an article, 10 Ways to Move Away from Fear and Drama in the midst of the coronavirus. And I did that very quickly, but not just for other people, also for myself, because I knew that I needed to boost up and remember what I know and what I was raised with and what I believe in my heart and what I learned from you. So but it's interesting to watch. Like you said, the news is feeding you all of this negative information. For the average human being, it's perfectly normal that they're going into total fear, fight or flight. And then they don't have the energy or the resources to even deal with it. It's just so sad to watch it because they don't have the information. So I'm so glad that we're having this conversation today to give people more information so that they can help themselves and know that they can be okay even through all of this. So,
we've been talking about how our belief system controls our biology and our genetics. This is
right.
the biology belief story that takes it from a new age. Oh, that's a neat idea, have a positive thought. No,
right.
Biology belief takes how does positive thought turn into chemistry, and how does that chemistry control genes,
right.
epigenetics. That's the sciencey part of it, okay? And but I must emphasize something that is so profoundly important, and so people say, yes, I understand, but it doesn't come into their life. They if they were given a test, yeah, they can answer the test, but do they use this information? No. And I say, what's the information? I go, it's from quantum physics. And everybody goes, oh God, that's like crazy. Nobody knows that, I go, quantum physics is the most valid science on the planet. There is no science that has been tested more and found to be as accurate as quantum physics. It is the most truthful of all sciences.
Right.
If you're going to question a science, the last one you question is quantum physics. I go, so I say, principle number one, quantum physics from day one, 1927. Consciousness is creating your life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, mind is control. It is so, from the very foundation of quantum physics, Max Planck, one of the founders of quantum physics, wrote, mind is the matrix of all matter. And I say, why is it relevant? Because at that time and continuously, quantum physicists recognize that what happens in our world is not an accident, but it's connected to our consciousness. We are manifesting an experience, and then we live that experience. Mm-hmm. That consciousness controls us. Now, again, sounds like a new age thing, but quantum physics has been here essentially almost 100 years.
Yeah.
This is a fact of science. I say, yes, in 1927, when it came in, those were the facts. And I just say, in a more recent article in Nature, and that's the most prestigious scientific journal on this planet, Nature.
Okay.
I say, what was the article? It was called The Mental Universe. It was by a physicist by the name of Richard Conn Henry, and he's a physicist at Johns Hopkins University. So let's look at it from this perspective. The most prestigious scientific journal in the world has an article published in it by a professor of physics. The article is entitled The Mental Universe. It's all about just what I said, how consciousness is influencing this world. I don't want you to read the article, excuse me. I just think the last sentence, which I show in my lectures, and this is, again, the sentence right out of the scientific article, the most scientific journal, and the sentence reads, the universe is immaterial. It's mental and spiritual. Live and enjoy. Excuse me. But what's the point? After 100 years, the principle of quantum physics is exactly the same. Consciousness is creating this experience. We talked about positive consciousness creating health in a system, which is manifesting a reality. We can talk about negative consciousness creating a negative reality. And then I say, in our world, we're not empowered. We're disempowered to believe that we're victims. And victim means powerless. That's what victim means. I have no power.
Yep.
And we are programmed, even your health. No, you don't have power. Your genes control you, and you didn't pick them, and you can't change them, and they turn on and off, and they control your life. False. 100% false.
Yeah.
Genes don't turn on and off.
Yeah.
People turn genes on and off.
Exactly.
Our thinking does this. And this is why your training in Psyche is so valuable, is what if my thinking is creating a disease? I say, yeah, but what if you change your thinking? Ah! And everything will change.
Right. Yeah. So just because my father was an alcoholic doesn't mean I have to be an alcoholic if I change my thinking. I change my beliefs.
And this is problematic because AA does an amazing job. They help lots of people. I'm not knocking them. But I will say there is one problem, because in their teaching, while they're helping people, they also hobble people. Yeah. Because they say alcoholism is a disease and you'll never get out of it. And if you ever have a drink, you're going to fall in the gutter. And I go, what did you just program? Yeah. You program, I want to help you, but if you have one drink, you're going to go to hell. And the idea is, once a person has a drink, then where do you think they go? They didn't get better. They then went back downhill again.
Right.
Because you've already programmed that.
They got sentenced. They just got sentenced for the rest of their life. They've got the diagnosis as an alcoholic, and it's never going to go away. And
it's not a gene.
Right.
Alcoholism is behavioral.
Exactly.
and it's learned.
Yes.
So that's why, do I want to treat the body or I want to treat the mind? Cancer. Mm-hmm. Everyone says, oh, cancer is due to cells with cancer genes. And first of all, there is no gene. There's cancer. There's not one gene that causes cancer.
Right.
And I say, just give an example. So many women are afraid of breast cancer, BRCA gene. Mm-hmm. I go, does that gene cause cancer? I go, well, 50% of the women that have the gene never get the cancer. So the first thing is this: having the gene didn't cause the cancer.
Right.
Living out of harmony and having the gene, that causes cancer. Okay?
And believing that you can get that cancer. So
that's the belief that manifests. Consciousness is manifesting reality. Quantum physics and now biology, they both say the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
our important point at this time, and this is why your work is so critical. Is my life not working right because I'm a victim of circumstances out of my control? Or is my life not working right because my subconscious programs are sabotaging me subconsciously, unconsciously?
Right.
The answer is the latter. Right. And that's why you want to treat cancer, and everybody says, oh, the cancer cells are sick and they got stupid genes and they're killing you, the cancer cells. I go, the cancer cells are a symptom that you're not in harmony. You can kill all the damn cancer cells you want. If you didn't change your balance and harmony, the cancer will come back.
Exactly.
And so the reality is we're blaming the cell, which is a reflection of who we are. It's and most that's why 90% of illness is a stress.
Yeah. The belief that causes a stress, the belief that you have cancer, that you can get cancer, all these things, instead of believing I'm healthy and well. And I'm always healthy and well. So, and you and I know that there's a way to change if you don't feel healthy and well. And even now during COVID-19 and all of this, what I've seen is the people that are doing quite well and have done superbly through this have been the ones who've had no doubt about their own person and about their own being healthy and well. So,
and they probably were already infected, and it was such a mild case that it wasn't something I would report to anybody, and that's why the statistics of COVID were wrong.
Right.
The people that have it, it's so mild, I'm not going to go to the doctor.
Right, but if you took a person who had it mild and then you scared the crud out of them and told them, but you have COVID-19, what changes there, right? Then they go into fear, even if they weren't in fear.
Remember, that mind controls the immune system.
Right.
And again, it's like immunology, immune system. Neuroimmunology is the science of nerve system controlling immune system, neuroimmunology. Mm-hmm. Then I add one more word, psychoneuroimmunology. Mm-hmm. And that says, the nervous system controlling immune system, And psychology is controlling the nervous system, which in turn controls the immune system. And then you recognize why consciousness is the ultimate control of the immune system.
Okay.
And when you live in fear, you are shutting off your immune system consciously.
Yeah.
And if you want to change that, you don't have to change the immune system. You don't have to take any additives to the system. You got to do what you do, Susan, and that is help people say, what image are you generating in your head that is manifesting this negative expression? It was not a positive image. It was a negative image you were having.
Right. And let's change that. That
you can do.
Yeah.
That's what, and not through drugs,
Right.
not through pharmaceutical company. No.
A lot easier, a lot less stress on the body to do it through something like Psych-K, which we talked about a little bit, and change those beliefs so that you can stay healthy and well through all of this. And I believe that's why I am, and that's why my family is. And I've watched so many people, though, struggle with it because they are bombarded with the information and they don't know what to do with it. So that's part of why I wanted to talk today, was to
it's not just bombarded with information, it's bombarded with negative information.
Right.
None of the information coming out is empowering of anybody in the audience.
No, it's wiping them out.
You're powerless.
Yeah.
You're gonna die. It's like,
yeah. So even if you don't die from COVID-19, you might die just from fear.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah. What do we tell people that they can do right now so that they can move out of that fear, take their power back, and stay strong and healthy no matter what the news is telling you, no matter what you're seeing on social media? I mean, I wrote the article and gave some steps and things, but there's so much more. What would you tell people? What do you think they should do to change their response and the reaction so they're not in that fight or flight? And to understand, they need to understand so much here. What you said is you're not helping yourself. You're only hurting yourself by staying in fear and listening to all this stuff and not changing your thoughts and your beliefs. You're causing the damage to yourself.
The idea of what is the function of the mind? If I just wanted to put in the most concise statement of the function of the mind is, the function of the mind is to create coherence between your beliefs and your reality. If you have a negative belief, then the function of the mind is to generate whatever kind of behavior that will manifest an expression of that negative belief. Then that's why our lives feel so normal. Because our beliefs turn out and go, yeah, see, I told you that was going to happen. I go, well, you created that with the belief, and people don't get that. And I tell them that. And as we said before, I just said what quantum physics was established on, mind creating its reality. Now, after this little podcasty thing, and let's hand everybody who observed this podcast a test. What controls reality? The answer is mind. I go, great. Are you using it that way, or is that just the answer on the quiz? And that's what I had to learn personally. Look, I came from a scientific background, molecular biology, genes and nucleus and proteins and chromosomes. I taught that stuff. And the simple reality is, when I understood the nature of how it worked, which was epigenetics, where mind was controlling the genetics, I was so excited. I had to tell people, it was like I solved this great mystery. I understand how it works. So I grab some people, put them in the room and say, I'm going to tell you how to create this wonderful life.
Right.
Then they look at me and go, but Lipton, your life doesn't look so good for a guy who says you know this. And I realized, oh my God, there's a whole difference in talking this versus walking this. I changed my conscious mind. Yes, it has the awareness of the new understanding. But my subconscious programs, they didn't change because I got that. They're still the original ones.
Right.
And since my subconscious is running my life and your life and everyone's life about 95% of the time, my new knowledge of this heaven on earth possibility was just academic knowledge. It never got into my control mechanism.
Right.
And therefore, even though I was aware of it and could pass the test, my life did not match what I was saying. And that's when I had to do the belief change stuff that you've become so proficient at. I had to change my belief. And that was then in alignment with the quantum physics as well. And once I did that, guess what? I have been living heaven on earth about 23, 25 years now.
Yep.
And, you know, hey, old people be afraid of the COVID. It's like, hell no, I'm 76 and I don't give a damn. And I think I already had it and disappeared because I was not in that consciousness.
Right.
And I do the things that I would suggest to people to do regardless. And number one is this. Number one, eat well.
Mm-hmm.
The food you eat is creating growth medium for your cells. And if you put less than quality food in, you get less than quality growth out. That's a fact. So eating organic and natural food is a necessary return to get your health back. Taking vitamins, minerals, and supplements. Yes, because the food that we eat today doesn't really give us the foundational elements that more ancient people had when they were living in a good environment.
Yeah.
And this is also another important aspect is exercise. Yeah. Exercise meaning, what am I doing? I'm strengthening my cardiovascular system. I go, well, why should I do that? And I said, that's the delivery system of the immune system. Mm-hmm. If that's working good, then the last thing is the one that you and I emphasize, and perhaps even more important than anything else I just emphasized, is be aware of your consciousness. Yeah. If you're focusing on the fear, you will manifest something that will be fearful. Exactly. And when you are programmed to be afraid, that means you are basing your life on a fear and trying to hide from a fear. And it's like, no, if you have fear in your consciousness, then the function of the mind is to generate before you a reason to have that fear. Exactly. And then you will manifest it, whether it's ill health or a problem on the outside world. And
that's exactly right. Manifesting it. Like you said, you will manifest whatever your thoughts and your beliefs are. That will come to, because we are powerful human beings. We are powerful beings. And we can create anything we want. So if you want to focus on the negative, that's what you're going to create. But like my mom, who's 90 and isn't even aware of COVID-19, she's perfectly healthy and well because, like you said, she didn't have that information. She didn't have those beliefs. So there you go. It's just and it's so empowering for people to know. Yeah, they need to know that they have. There's ways to rise above this, and that the sky really isn't falling. There are things happening out there, I understand, but I think that we're going to end up in a good place. We might have to go through, like you talk about in your last newsletter, the voracious caterpillar, and we've been in that stage, and now hopefully we're starting to get to the nice, gentle butterfly touch. To me, the voracious caterpillar, that's the fear part, and that's acting out of fear. We're acting
getting more. I'm afraid the more I have, the better off I'm going to be. I said, you have $100 billion, but if you have COVID and you have a lousy immune system, you're in a lot of trouble. I don't care how much money you got.
Right. And and then what happens with the COVID, when people are in fear about that, they become that voracious caterpillar in regard to ripping apart, everybody else, because here's what I notice. When people are in fear, they're going to defend it. They're going to defend their position that there's a reason for why I'm in fear, and they will defend it. They'd rather be dead right than wrong. So,
well, that's exactly a very interesting way of saying it, because that's absolutely true. And the idea is quantum physics, new biology, the things we've been talking about still come down to the bottom line. It says, what are you thinking?
Exactly.
And are you using your conscious mind, which is about 5% of the day, or are you using the program of beliefs and things you downloaded from others? You're in a situation, Sue, that you had a good teacher, and your programs come off on a very solid foundation. But that's the exception to the rule. Most people, as I said, their programs are beyond 50%, are not supporting them and sabotaging them, and then they run from these beliefs 95% of the day, and all they see is it's all falling apart, and they don't even see that their own behavior is contributing. So if it's falling apart and you don't think you're a participant, then what are you left to think? Is that it's the outside that's keeping me from having all the wonderful things I want. It's the environment, it's whatever it is. Those people are keeping me from getting this, and not realizing it's your own behavior that is manifesting this. but
Yep.
it's not your conscious wishes and desires behavior, it's your subconscious program.
Mm. And
And
that's a huge thing that I want people to get today from you, is that you do have the power to change that and to change your life completely, but you have to be accountable. You have to be accountable for your own life, and stop pointing at the outside saying it's because of
that's
this
where
and
that
that. And yeah.
that
And I
word
know
that
that's
becomes negative for a lot of people,
right.
responsibility.
Yeah.
We are responsible for our lives, but when you give them up, you've lost control, and you give it to whoever else is going to offer that control for you.
Yeah.
And this is why doctors' diagnoses are so troubling, because as a patient, okay, what did I learn in my first 7 years? I don't know about health. The professional knows about health,
Mm.
and that doctor. And if I see the doctor and the doctor says X, Y, or Z, then that is my truth, because well, I don't know about it, but that person does. So we give up power to someone we think has more data knowledge than we have, and then their words become our life. And
Right.
that's why a diagnosis is so scary, because most diagnoses are, well, this is bad and it's going to get worse. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm in a lot of trouble already because the doctor told me this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen. I go, you know what? Then you proceed to reveal all of those aspects of the diagnosis. Yeah, I started to get this, then my hair fell out, and then my digestive system fell to the floor, then I had the palpitations. It's like, oh, everything they said. What a
Mhm.
coincidence. I go, that's not a coincidence. That's
Yeah.
a program.
But
And you've just
that's
been programmed.
right. But that's how they will try to convince you that their doctor is right, because
Yeah,
they said this was going to happen, and all of this is happening. And so it's so important to try to get people to understand, but it doesn't have to happen that way. You can
I
decide not
know.
to believe the doctor. You
And
can
that's
decide
why
to believe something else.
And
So
that's why your life and my life and those around us that are living this way represent, do I have to be that, or can I be this?
right,
And as I said, 50 years I was that. I was whatever the programming was. And
right,
I really got some bad programming from my parents about how to be in a relationship. That sure as heck threw a monkey wrench in my life.
yeah,
But once I understood, wait, I'm the one that's replaying their programs, and I'm the one that can change the program.
right,
And when I have people around me like you, Sue, who can help change these programs, which I did,
right,
and help rewrite these programs, then I happen to write a book called The Honeymoon Effect,
yeah,
because it says, what happens if you get out of the program? And the answer is heaven on earth. And I go, basically, as we've just been talking about, 95% of your life is coming from the program. That these programs are mainly negative and disempowering. So every day your life is blah, 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 blah. And then one day you meet someone special, you fall in love, and 24 hours later, your life is not blah, blah, blah anymore. Your life is, oh my God, this is so wonderful. I love my life. Everything is so beautiful and joyful. And oh, I have so much pleasure being alive. And I go, that's the honeymoon. I say, wait, how'd that happen? And so now the science is clear. You stop playing the program when you fell in love. It's the equivalent in that movie, The Matrix, of taking what is called the red pill.
right,
What happens when you stop playing the program? Then your life is not coming from your subconscious. Your life is now coming from your conscious. That's creative wishes and desires. So I say, the moment you stop playing the program, 24 hours later, you're on heaven on earth.
yeah,
I go, you know what? Heaven on earth was always there until you drop back into the program. Once you drop back into that program, honeymoon's gone again.
yeah,
and there's nothing clearer than that, to
right.
say, how did I go from blah, blah, blah to heaven on earth in 24 hours? I say, simply stop playing the damn program that was sabotaging you, that you didn't even see you were playing. But the moment you stop playing it,
Uh-huh.
heaven on earth.
And you created a new program.
A better one, a much better
Yeah,
program, the one that I wanted, because if I'm the creator, why would I keep playing the programs I downloaded from my dysfunctional
right,
parents,
right,
in their relationship?
yeah,
I was playing that program unconsciously 95% of the day.
yeah,
But once I understood that my life was coming from the program, saw the difficulty in my life as a program, then saw the simple resolution.
exactly.
Rewrite the program.
Rewrite the program. Yeah, I think that's a huge point right now is rewrite the program. And it is hard for people to try to do that with, like you said, so much false information. And that again is why I wanted you to come on and give us the real deal with what's happening
Okay.
here, because you were one of the first people, you were the first person that I went to when this all started and started watching and listening, rereading and knowing this is information I have, this is what I know for sure,
Yeah,
along with my own beliefs and my own
yeah.
information. But you know, it's, I don't want people to feel like they've done anything wrong to fall for it or to get scared or to keep
No,
in.
that was history.
Yeah,
Uh, and here's what the problem is. And I think you're getting to this, and let me just emphasize, because a lot of people, when we turn around and say, you're responsible for the things in your life, and then you look at your life and go, I did that, I caused that, I caused my own cancer, I did that. And the first thing is, I can't accept that.
right,
I can't accept that. I'm
right,
not buying I'm a victim of myself.
right.
And then the problem is then again, then you let go of the control and put it back outside and let them control you again. And the issue is, there's a given fact of the physics. Consciousness is creating our experiences. It's your consciousness is creating your experience. That two people in the same spot have different consciousness. They have different experience in the exact same spot.
Yeah.
So it's really the interpretation that we get. And then the problem that people have is, I acquired the new knowledge, just like me. I'm an example of it. What? I got the knowledge of, oh my God, I can change my life. I can have heaven on earth all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Conscious awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And that was great. Did my life change? Absolutely not. And this is what people lose it, because they want to have this life. They
Right.
changed their consciousness. They read the book. They went to the lecture. They saw the video. They said, oh yeah, I know all about it. I say, yeah, if you pass the test with your consciousness, yeah. But are you using your consciousness to run your life? No.
Right.
I'm using subconscious, and that's programs. And the thing is, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind learn in different ways, and this is the disconnect. The conscious mind can learn just by reading the book, watching the video, listening to talk. It just go, aha, I just changed my conscious mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Subconscious mind is called the habit mind. The relevance of a habit mind is it's a habit. I learned how to walk before I was 2. I'm 76. I'm still walking, folks. Same program.
Right.
Thank God I have a subconscious that allows me to do that.
Yeah.
But if I put a negative behavior in there before age 7 and I'm 76, I'm still playing that negative behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reality is, I want to change the program. I say, how do you even know what the hell the program was? You were programmed before you were born, last trimester of pregnancy. You were programmed at 0. Oh, no, you don't remember that part? Oh, do you remember the program at 1? No, not really. How about 2? Well, not really. I go, so most of your programming, you have no idea what the hell the program was. You were not conscious enough to recognize the programming. So it's operating 95% of the day. It's invisible. And then I say, well, how do you know what the hell your program is? I go, your life is a printout of your program. It's 95% of your life is coming from the program. So I say, it's very simple. The things you like that come into your life, well, they come in because that's why you have a program to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But, in the capital but, underlined, bold font, everything, but the things that you wish for and desire, but you have to work hard and struggle and fight over and put effort into it and sweat over, and I'm working real hard, I'm going to make it work. I go, stop for a second and say, why are you working so hard? And the answer inevitably is, the original thought is, I'm not going to get it. And I go, where did that come from? The program. You're not good enough. You're not deserving. You're not smart enough. Things that parents said when we were young.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, so why is it relevant? Your life being a printout. The things that you want and you can't get there are a total reflection of programs that do not support your wishes and desires.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go, well, can I read the book? And I go, yeah, but that educates up here.
Yeah.
That's how this mind is creative. It can learn in any number of ways. But this one learns by hypnosis, repetition, or a new version of psychology called energy psychology. Those are 3 ways. You want to change a program? I say, how do you know the program you want to change? Your life is a struggle because of a program. So that's where your program is right associated with that. And I say, you want to change it? And I say, well, Hypnosis, self-hypnosis is one way. And I say repetition, fake it till you make it, pattern creation, or fast
Yeah.
is energy psychology, because that induces something called super learning.
Yes.
And super learning, people, what's that? And I say, you ever see somebody read a book by moving their finger down the page? As fast as they move, just like that, as fast as that, they read every word on the page.
Yep.
They can stand in a bookstore and in 5 minutes read a book by just turning the pages and going like that. Okay? And that's super learning. I said, but if you can engage super learning in reprogramming, how long does it take to reprogram something, which most people say, oh, programming is so hard and difficult, I got to work on a lot. I say, how long does it take if you're using super learning and energy psychology? Minutes.
Yep. Minutes. Yep.
Minutes. And I always leave it with this saying, necessity is the mother of invention. That human civilization is facing an extinction that we are creating. We've created, human behavior has created the sixth mass extinction event, which includes us, not in 1,000 or 1,000,000 years, but within a century.
Right.
We're going extinct because we've undermined the web of life. And I say, so guess what? Human behavior is causing it. It's human behavior that has to be changed to get out of this extinction. Do we have lots and lots of time? No. So guess what? Energy psychology shows up and says, yeah, you got to change, and here's some processes to make change rapid.
Quickly.
Because we need to change that fast.
Yeah.
And these processes
I can tell you that one of the programs that I had as a young person was, I was actually sexually abused by a 16-year-old boy before I was 3. And if I hadn't changed my programs, I was definitely going to be a victim of that for the rest of my life. So part of what I did was using Psyche to change the programs so that I wasn't a victim. And that's what I want to encourage people to do, is find what you can do to change those programs, because you don't have to be a victim to anything. You can be victorious in your life. You can have the heaven on earth. You can have all of those things. So that's why, I mean, and I'm a prime example of that. I could have been a victim, but I chose that I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have a certain kind of life. And so I found the way to make the changes I needed to make. And we're so empowered. We can do it.
I know we can do it. That's why I wrote a book called The Honeymoon Effect, because I never had that honeymoon for 50 years, 50, until I understood this, applied it, used it, and then created this most wonderful life experience of a honeymoon every day for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not finished yet. I'm going to have a honeymoon tomorrow too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'm so happy that you joined me today, and I hope that we've given people some uplifting information. I feel uplifted. I feel better. Can I ask you a personal question and see if you would want to share? Because I think this might help a lot of people. And you can tell me or whatever, but I know that recently you were just displaced from your home because of the California fires. And that was right
I'm still displaced. I'm living somewhere else right now, but maybe tomorrow we can go back. We're waiting every day. So,
and I think a lot of people have heard about, I mean, it was 10 feet from your home. I want to know.
Yeah, true.
I am personally not surprised that your house survived. I am not surprised at all, because I know you. So I want you to tell people where your mind was while this was going on, and were you doing things like Psyche, and what was going on with you to keep yourself in that, because you know that we create our own reality, and your house is still there. So can you share just a little how you think you created that reality for yourself?
Well, I didn't only do it for myself, because people around the world were also sending wishes, which are conscious expressions broadcast out in the field, which helped make a field for me as well. But how did my wishes get involved? Number one is we're forced to leave the house. 3 o'clock in the morning, phone call. You have to leave now. The fires are beating down on you right now. You have to leave. And I say, wow, okay, what does that mean? Well, you're going to get in your car, you're going to go. And I say, when is there something to come back to? I said, I have no idea.
Right.
The woman who worked for us 14 years, Sally, lived up the road. When she evacuated, guess what? Her house is about 8 inches of ash now, just a floor of ash. The entire house burned down to bottom. Well, anybody leaving the house has the same thought. And I said, what did I do? Did I have fear? Oh, I'm gonna lose everything. I said, no. I said, what do we need to take, Margaret? We're leaving, and we have to take. What would you take? I said, well, we took the computer because that has our programs and all our stuff in it. We took the legal papers and some clothes.
Right.
And we got in the car and we left. Did we have a fear that, oh my God, the thing is going to burn down, we're going to lose everything? I said, no. When we closed the door, we already knew. We don't know if we have it. We don't know if we don't have it. So living in fear is silly. And the thing that we just recognized when we left was very simple. And what was it? Was we can get everything back again. We're here. We're healthy. We're still in love. Is there anything primal more than that? I go, no. Your health and your community and your love. The house, it could burn down. I don't give a damn. I mean, I'm going to miss a lot of things, but I'm not going to cry and ruin my life because something I've held for 30, 40, 50 years has disappeared. I get something new. Matter of fact, I'll have less than I always had because I always found out I collected so much stuff. I don't want that much stuff in my life anyway. I wasn't wishing for it to burn down. What was I wishing? Margaret and I are safe, we're healthy, and we can leave this area. And if I would have held a fear in my head of what's the fear? The visual of what? My house is on fire. What would I be manifesting?
Right.
There was no fear to that. It had to leave. It wasn't even there. Because what is important in your life? Get down to what's important. Are you healthy? Yeah. You have a loving relationship? Absolutely.
Yep.
You need anything more than that? No.
Yeah, exactly.
That is it.
Yeah.
And if you have that, everything else you can get again and replace it. It's irrelevant. But too many people hold on. My favorite picture and that, the silverware and the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah. And I go, hey, it wasn't. And walk away with what? No fear.
Right.
If I need another place, I'll get another place. It's not the first time I've lost things in my life.
There you go.
And I'm still here.
Yeah. And you stayed in a place of love. And
absolutely, because that was the only thing that mattered.
Right.
The house is not relevant, except that we hold material things in front of us as a reflection of who we are. And I go, you're not the material thing. You're the thing behind that material thing. If you think the material thing, you put all your effort to say the material thing, you fail to identify who are you behind there.
You're much deeper than that. You're much
deeper than that. I'm enjoying my life, for God's sakes. I can enjoy it in the old house or a new house or an apartment or a nice little bungalow on the beach in, Caribbean. I could do that too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's beautiful. And I think that's a great way to end our conversation today. And I think that we are going to help a lot of people just having this nice conversation, giving real information even about ourselves, sharing some of that. So people know we are human and we did some things to get to where we are, and we're not living in a place of love because we didn't recognize that we would rather be in love than in fear. So,
absolutely. And I a lot of people I talk to, new age people, well, when I'm finished with this life, I'm going to a better place. And I'm going, if you didn't think this was so good, that was a problem right there. This is beautiful. As a planet? Are you kidding me? It's beautiful.
And I would add that if they're thinking they're going to go to a better place because they don't are now.
Look at the one you're at. I don't want to not come back here. I'd like to come back here with the knowledge I have now, because the next time around be really fun to start off with. Get your programming done day one, and the rest of it's going to unfold beautifully.
Exactly, because if you think that this isn't so great, guess what you're going to get again?
It's not that great.
It is.
Thank you, Sue, for
now
letting me be here. Thank you so much, and more importantly, let me thank our audience, because our audience are those people looking for answers, and the answers are not in the box.
Right.
And so it's really important to recognize you stay in the box, you're going to get the same damn thing that's always going on in that box. That box is crashing, it's failing. Don't put your energy into the box that's coming down. We're putting our energy into something new we're building.
Right.
And this is this moment of you have a conscious decision to make. You want to be the victim of an old world that scares the hell out of you right now?
Right.
Or do you want to be the creator of a new world,
Mm-hmm.
which is heaven on earth? And as I said, you've touched it before.
Yeah.
You've touched it. And if you thought it was good, I can tell you it's really worth going into.
Yep. And even if you think it sounds scary, go for it anyway, because when you get past that, I remember when I realized I had that power and I could do that. I could create the life I wanted. I was elated and felt wonderful. And then 2 seconds later, I was scared to death because I thought, oh no, I'm responsible and I'm accountable for my life. So I can't blame mom and dad or my brothers or anybody else now. I have to take responsibility. But I know that I'm so glad that I did it. I'm glad I took the leap. And then I took the responsibility and I went and figured out how to create the life I really wanted. So thank you, Bruce.
Well, thank you, Sue, for being along with me, another person who has taken their life and put it in their own hands, because it's so much more enjoyable to be in a life where you can make the decision rather than you making the response.
Yep.
And this is the joy of
and look how much
creative.
fun we're having, even in the middle of COVID-19.
COVID-19, not my problem.
Not my problem. So that's a great message. We're just going to keep having fun and enjoying our lives. Well, Bruce, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. You know how much,
you.
You know how much yeah, and you know how much I care about you, and I love you guys, and I'm so glad. Hopefully, you'll be going home soon. I hope that happens.
And I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank
for
you.
taking your desires and wishes to get out and to get this message farther around.
Yeah.
I saw you take it and doing it.
Yeah.
And that to me is that, yeah, she's doing it. She's taking her power. And so all you out there, Sue's got a good idea. I think I do what she's doing.
I'm pretty happy. So I think it works anyway.
Yes.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to chat soon. Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you. And thank everybody out there.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up today and hearing what we had to say. And I hope you all get all kinds of great information from this and create the life you really want. Wow, what a fantastic first conversation on A Conversation with Sue with my dear, dear friend, Dr. Bruce Lipton. It was so informative. It was uplifting. It was dynamic. It was fun. It was just a fantastic conversation. And I'm so happy that you were all able to be here. I think he gave us a lot of things to help us feel more at peace and calm. And it was just such a joy to talk to Dr. Lipton today. Again, my name is Susan Goudy, and I'm the author of The Journey from Fear to Love is Shorter Than You Think, which is a lot of what we talked about in the first conversation with Dr. Lipton today. We talked about living more in love and moving away from fear, moving closer to love, especially during these times. You want to live closer to love, get out of fear so that you can keep your immune system strong, like Dr. Lipton said. That's the best way to do it, is to keep yourself in a space of love, or as close as you can be to that end of the spectrum, as close as you can get to love, so that your immune system is strong, you can feel healthy and well as we go through these times. I'm also the author of 10 Ways to Eliminate Drama from Your Life, Easy Ways to Be More Productive and Successful in Your Work and in Your Life. That's another thing that's a good thing to have out of your life right now, is as much as possible, keep it drama-free as much as you can, so that you can also stay healthier and stay well as we go through these times. You can find my books on Barnes & Noble and also on Amazon, and at my website, susangoudy.com. Goudy is my last name, susangoudy.com. And you can check me out on YouTube, on my Facebook page, author Susan Goudy, on my Instagram page, which is Susan Goudy Power, Twitter, or LinkedIn. And I hope you'll join me again when I have my second conversation with Sue. I'll keep you posted on who's going to join me then. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to have you come back and join me again. Take care.